Hey everyone, welcome. In this video, we are going to talk about what is Web 3.0 and what is the future of technology and the internet. If you are new to my YouTube channel, make sure to click subscribe in the button below so that you'll get updated content. So what is Web 3.0? Without wasting time on Web 3.0, we need to understand what is Web 1.0 and Web 2.0 so that you will have more understanding on 3.0. So in good olden days, when Web 1.0 was there, it was in 1990s. I still remember going to internet cave or internet parlor, whatever it may be. I used to pay 15 rupees to the internet cave owner just to access the internet. Now, what kind of internet I used to access is something like a static web pages, yahoo.com, Yahoo Answers, or AOL, or there are very few websites where the content creator used to create the content and he has complete control over the website. All the users need to do is just go and consume the content. Just read the blogs and come back to home. So that is the initial phase of Web 1.0. And during this phase, Yahoo launched Yahoo Messenger, where we used to go and chat on the Yahoo Messenger with other people across the world. So that was the days. I don't know how much you used to pay for one hour. It was 15 rupees. Type in the chat box if I'm right, per hour in a web in an internet cave. So what happened is that when people are getting more exposed to internet, the internet usage has got increased. The number of users got increased. But in 2004, when Orkut was launched in India and also of course Brazil, so the 1.0 has been transitioned into 2.0, where the users started generating content, not the creators of the platform. Users also started creating content. Like in Orkut, we used to have forums and we used to click photos, upload photos and tag other people. So that's a form of content generation. Now, when Facebook has launched, it changed everything. Now I can also connect with my friends. I can also share my photos. I can group form communities, create content. So Facebook doesn't create any content. So it's the users who were part of that community or part of the social media network created content, and it has changed all the lifestyle of many other people. Everyone has a Facebook account. Everyone can access anyone on the social media network, and everyone can connect. Most businesses have actually been created on the social media networks. Now, what happened in 2007? There was a launch of Apple iPhone by Steve Jobs. Now, internet was just only consumed on the desktop or laptop. But when iPhone was launched, the internet moved onto mobiles. Now there's a new economy created on the mobile phone, which is called app economy, like Play Store or Apple Store, where many creators started creating apps and the consumption of internet gone to the next level. Now this is the phase where we are in Web 2.0, where actually we are slowly transitioning into Web 3.0. So Web 2.0 basically is a place where someone controls the social media networks, which is like Meta controls Facebook, Facebook controls Instagram, WhatsApp. Alphabet controls Google, Google controls YouTube and many other platforms on Google. Okay, so likewise Apple controls something. So there's the authority or a company that is controlling the interactions between the social media. Now, if they feel that I'm not good fit for using, or maybe I'm creating some content which is not relevant, or if something they feel that I'm not following the community guidelines set by that social media networks, they can kick me out at any time, just like it happened to Donald Trump on Twitter. Okay, so that's how Web 2.0. Now, people don't like to be, people want that freedom of speech. People want to have the freedom of expression, and people don't want someone to control their emotion, their speech. So that's where that 3.0 we are slowly transitioning into it. So basically the Web 3.0 is based on three principles. Okay, now these principles may evolve, but right now it's 3 principles. Number 1 is open. So open platforms, open applications, open code. So what is open? So I can't go and check the code, the technology that is built Facebook. All right, that's closed. So but whereas there are so many open softwares that are being generated or created, like Mozilla Firefox or Wikipedia, or there are Python. These are all open open source applications where anyone can go edit, modify, enhance the code, and boom, if everyone agrees, that's how the upgrade happens. So that's the open source. Next is going trustless. Now when you say trustless, is you don't need a third party application or a platform to trust some conversation or a transaction. Like Bitcoin, there is nothing like let's say for example, I send you money, okay, 500 rupees or $10 I'm sending you. So there should be a transaction happening, right? That note that I'm sending you, wait a minute, the note that I'm sending you should be trusted, right? Let's say for example, I'm sending you 500 rupees here, which is actually Reserve Bank of India has printed this. So there is a trustness. So there is someone, if I gave you this 500 rupees, you are trusting because it has been trusted by Reserve Bank of India. So same way, we are moving to trustless. So you don't need a Reserve Bank of India or some Facebook or some Twitter to trust the transaction, to trust the conversation. So it can happen automatically. Let's say for example, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not controlled by any company, any organization. So but the transaction happen automatically because of the network that has built, which is based on trustness. So everything automatically happens based on the if you want to connect with someone privately or if you want to connect with someone publicly, it's a trustless network that will help you to grow. All right, that's how the applications will be built. Number 3 is permissionless. Permissionless is like, let's say for example, there are users and there are suppliers. They can participate without any authorization of government. Let's say for example, if I have to sell this water bottle to someone, I have to get authorized business from the government, which in the 3.0 it is not required. You can there's no intervention of government here or any intervention of company. People can do whatever they want using the permissionless principle. So this is how the Web 3.0. Let's understand the Web 3.0 technology, how it is going to evolve. So there are again 3 kinds of technologies. Again, they might evolve. So Web 3.0, number 1 technology is about artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is already in place in what are the social media platform. Let's say, for example, if I'm watching dog videos on Facebook or Instagram, so automatically I'll see dog videos recommended by Instagram because of the artificial intelligence technology that predicts that this person loves dogs and watch dog videos. So it automatically curate the content according to my likes. So that is what we'll be having in 3.0 as well. Number 2 is having a decentralized networks. Now this is very, very, very crucial because all the cryptocurrency, all the NFTs, what are the transactions that you are seeing in Bitcoin are decentralized. Now just like I told you, right? If I have to do this transaction, there's a thing called Reserve Bank of India, which is a centralized thing that is actually controlling everything. Now, when in Web 3.0, it's completely decentralized. There is no power of authority that controls everything. So everything is controlled in the network, and just like how the blockchain network works on the Bitcoin. So it's a decentralized. Number 3 is edge computing. Now you must have heard about cloud computing. Cloud computing is, let's say for example, Google Drive. So where I have to upload and it is uploaded somewhere rather than using a hard drive or storing in the laptop. So that is how the cloud computing used to work, where in some servers I don't know, at remote location, all my data is stored. Just by logging into that web Google Drive, I can access the data. Now, edge computing is bringing that cloud computing very near to your software or hardware. Let's say, for example, I am using this smartwatch. Now, my smartwatch is all, even though it is not connected to internet, I can still use this hardware, right? I can still use the smartwatch where I can actually analyze what is my health, what is the weather and everything. Now, when my smartwatch connects to internet, it automatically sends the data into the cloud storage. So what happens is, even though I'm not able to access the internet, I can still perform the duties, or what are the things that I really wanted to do. Maybe I can watch videos already, because I have that edge computing technology in my phone, okay, in my phone. So I don't need to actually connect to internet always. So this is going to be a revolutionary where you don't need to have internet to perform certain actions. So when the internet comes, everything will get synced. And if you don't have internet, you can still perform actions. So this is the complete Web 3.0 and the future of Web 3.0, and that is where everyone is going, like metaverse or blockchain, NFTs and everything. You can see NFT transactions are happening. People are buying NFT collections. There are many monetary transactions happening using Bitcoin blockchain technology. So we are slowly moving to 3.0. Basically, in summary, this is what the 3.0. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please type in the chat box. I'll create more videos around Web 3.0 so that you will be more aware about what is the upcoming future, and maybe you start a company on Web 3.0, or maybe you start applications, learn new technologies around Web 3.0, right? So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll get more content around these technologies. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining in.